everyone. We are pleased to present a podcast in both English and Mongolian for VETP's 10th anniversary. Happy 10th anniversary for our guests, Walter and Pascal. First, I'll provide a very brief overview about the VETP and for our podcast listeners, and then we are going to go into deep about the question related to VETP. So VETP was established in 2013 with the initiative of development partners. As a nonprofit NGO, its mission is to support Tibet knowledge development and sharing and facilitate coordination among development organizations, public and private sectors in Tibet, Mongolia. VETP offers a wide range of services, including consultant, project support, and access to current Tibet information through its website, social media, and quarterly newsletters. It produces key resources such as Tibet glossary, calendar, gender-related documents, world skills competition handbooks, and best practices from international donor organizations. VETP also organizes quarterly meetings for team leaders and donors, and board and hosts international and national forums as a UNESCO UniWalk Center in Mongolia. Additionally, VETP oversees projects like Career Guidance website, www.mirgil.mn, Gender Equity Initiatives, and has been implementation unit for World Skills Competition since 2015. There are a lot I can talk about it, so I'm going to leave the questions from our today's two guests. So today we have Boller, international expert appointed by Oyutalga LLC and who has been with VETP since its establishment. And we have Pascal, who worked as a business advisor with VETP for 5 years, appointed by GIZ, our donor organization. So Oyutalga has supported VETP in various ways, including by enhancing human resource capacity with international experts, and Butler was one of our experts and our long-term contributor who have been crucial to VETP strategic planning, vision and mission, and donor engagement. So for Pascal, he worked on developing VETP strategic planning, branding, HR capacity development, and donor coordination, and VETP's website development as well. So let's begin our questions, talking about our history with VETP. So Pascal, shall we start from you? Could you kindly share with us what was the initial idea of establishing VETP, and who are the donors?
Yeah, so the initial idea of establishing VETP was to promote collective impact in the vocational training sector. So not only 10 years back, but even before that, there were a lot of measures being implemented, not only by international development agencies, but also by local actors for the promotion of the training quality, of the vocational training sector. But actually it was 10 years back that we had a huge number actually of international organizations being active in the vocational training sector. And there was a consensus among these actors that there should be an independent organization being established, as was mentioned by you, as a non-profit organization, to safeguard, first of all the achievements that have been promoted by the various development agencies in the sector. So talking about development agencies in the sector, we had the Millennium Challenge account back in the days, which was quite active in the vocational training sector by foremost enhancing the infrastructure of vocational training schools. And then we had Oyutalga. We also have Boller with us today, so she can also share a little bit more of insights with us on that, which also invested a lot of money in the sector as part of its human resource strategy. And I was working with GIZ, the German Development Agency, which according to bilateral agreements that have been concluded between the Mongolian and German government, also took up the enhancement of the vocational training sector as its mandate. So in order to support VETP, the GIZ said, okay, we cannot pledge money directly because that's not the means of operation for GIZ. But instead, they were saying, okay, we can support you by seconding an development advisor, which was me, to to provide capacity building to the organization. And I will talk a little bit about that later.
Okay, thank you, Pascal. And Paula?
Yes, first of all, congratulations on the 10th anniversary. It is a significant milestone, I would say. And I'm very happy to be part of the organization and part of the history. And thank you for having me to represent what VETP has been doing and has been successful for the past 10 or more years. So to your question, really why VETP was established, I just would like to raise a couple of points. So let's take us back in 2000, early 2010 through 14, when VETP was established. Mongolia's vocational training sector has been really booming with activities, right? Booming with partners, local, international, governments, and international organizations and other partners. And everybody understood or had the immediate sort of understanding that so many projects are needed to be done, and there was many actors involved, and immediate factor was that coordination was needed, right? So VETP had been really established for the to serve as the backbone or to serve as the secretariat for all of the main partners, main donors in the sector, and to provide that secretariat sort of support, and also to ensure that there was institutional memory, just like Pascal was stating. And I'm very, very really happy to say that VETP has served as a true testament to what we say PPP, which is public-private partnership, right, has been successful in each and every sort of endeavor that it had taken. And I'll stop here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for reminiscing the memory with VTP. So, Walter, how did you contribute to developing VTP's strategic plan and bylaws and donor coordination during that time with the organization? Could you kindly provide some overview of the activities which has been implemented with VTP?
Certainly. Well, as you have mentioned, I have been part of the Oyutolgoy team at the time, and Oyutolgoy is one of the largest employers in the country and one of the rapidly growing workforce, especially needed to develop its talent, right, and really ensure that all of the funding that goes into the sector really is sustainable and is meeting sort of its strategic vision and planning, right? So, Oyutolgoy has been among many, partners that Pascal had mentioned earlier, that agreed to contribute to success of VTP. And the first thing that we had agreed on is that, of course, VTP's team needed to be established. Capacity training was provided to really give the organization its legs to be able to run fast, right? Because there was a lot and many projects to do. So we had worked collectively, and it has been a very much fun period where we had really engaged all of the partners together, discussing the gaps in the sector, discussing the challenges, the current challenges, and really having the opportunity to talk to the government about policy, about the policy developments and plans, and find the meeting points, right? Find the meeting points where the VTP could be very successful, and that's what we'll put into its strategic plan.
Wow, okay, thank you so much. So Pascal, you was a key part of your role involved in developing VTP's website, which is information main hub for TVET Center, right? So could you kindly tell me about how the initiative is being started? Why do you have the original idea of creating such a website?
Yeah, thank you for asking that question. So initially, the idea of putting that website in place, I think, was promoted by the Millennium Challenge account. And back in the days, the Millennium Challenge account was about to wind up its activities in the sector. And like I mentioned earlier, there was a fear that knowledge that has been produced by MCA, that this could vanish. And for that reason, they decided to sponsor the development of a website to act as a knowledge hub for products, knowledge products that have been developed, not only by MCA, but also by various actors in the past. So it was one of my very first activities was to coordinate the development with local IT companies that we have selected. And we also were lucky back in the days to have an IT consultant who was provided and sponsored by Oyo Tolga, who was coming from Australia. So that was really my first responsibility, was to really coordinate the development of the website. And also going forward, as you may know, like a website, it's not a static product. It constantly needs to be updated so it can really meet the needs of the stakeholders. So that is something I was looking after going forward, was to make sure that the website gets updated constantly in order to reflect the needs of the stakeholders in the sector.
Okay. So VTP also organized quarterly meetings, team leaders, and donor engagement. So for the purpose of these meetings is to avoid duplication among projects and discuss about the project's upcoming data. So with these meetings, do you think do you accomplish what was set in the beginning?
Yes, I think it is a very, very good question because essentially we're talking about coordination, right? Coordination, and that was really the gap why VTP has been established. The need for coordination, effective coordination, such coordination that brings sustainable sort of outcomes forward. And quarterly meetings have been very successful because, as I was saying, there were many partners in the field. And everybody, I at the time was at Oyo Tolga, and during VTP's 10 years operations, really many other partners had entered, as donors, as implementing partners. Many intergovernmental international organizations had come to support the sector with more funding and with more strategic vision, such as the European Union, such as the Korean KOICA and the JICA.
European Union?
Yes, definitely, the European Union, as I was just mentioning. And then imagine the quarterly meeting, right? And all of the partners coming together. And especially this was an opportunity for the public and private interactions to come together, because the government had also participated in the meetings. Back at the time, the vocational training sector had been part of the Ministry of Labor, and now it is part of Ministry of Education under the remit of the ministry, and this has proved very successful in sharing really not only news and updates, but it had developed into sort of planning and strategizing and aligning not only the financial planning, but also aligning activities, project activities of all the different projects that have been happening in the sector. Yes, so I would say such meetings are essential to any type of operations that that an organization such as a VETP is destined for, right? Which is coordination. Yes. Coordination is vital, not to duplicate and not to waste efforts, and really to be sustainable. Yes.
Okay. Do you have anything
Yeah,
to add?
so what I would just like to add is that when we talk about coordination, I think we can, as Paula was rightly pointing out, we can think about different layers of cooperation. And at first, the main objective was to make sure that there is no duplication in the sector, right? So that all the money that was being poured into the sector can be used as efficient as possible, right? So that was really the very first objective. Yeah. And once we were able to achieve that to a certain degree, we were saying, okay, so duplication is one thing, yeah, but actually it's better to align activities in such a way that you can also create synergies, right? And a keyword I would like to mention here is a common agenda. So that was a main goal of the meetings that we had, was to sit down together, also with the Ministry of Labor back in the days, to first of all create a sector strategy, right? Because many projects, they have their own goals, right? But it was really important to make sure that the project goals will tie into the strategy of the sector. And back in the days, there was no comprehensive sector strategy available yet, right? And I think the meetings that we had were quite helpful in putting together this common agenda, this strategy. And then we could also see that more and more partners got together to not only align their activities, but also to co-fund certain activities. And I think that was a very good strategy in creating what I've mentioned before, collective impact.
Wow, okay. It was a collective impact and milestone, right? Okay. So I'm going to leave the last question from my two guests. So how does establishing VTP benefit both donors and the TVET sector?
Yeah, so VTP, I would say, is a great partner, not for any new organization that is contemplating to become active in the vocational training sector, but also to private companies which are contemplating to invest into the development of their own human resources. I think over the last 10 years, VETP was able to not only accumulate all the knowledge that is available on vocational training in the sector, but also establish a broad network with different stakeholders, may it be non-governmental organizations, such as the Mongolian Employers Federation, for example, or the organization of TVET school directors,
And professional associations?
And professional associations, you name it. So for that reason, VETP is a really strong partner because partnering up with VETP can ensure that money goes into the gaps that are still existent in the sector. So I think if you are considering to invest into the sector, please reach out to VETP because they can connect you to the right actors and stakeholders. And what I would like to see, and I'm very confident that VETP may also grow into that position going forward, is that in the past there was a lot of focus being placed on acting as a knowledge broker. But going forward, I think that VETP is also in a strong position to act more and more as some kind of investment broker, meaning that they can also reach out to funding organizations outside the country and connect them to various actors in the country to bring in a cash injection, right, which is still needed for the promotion of the sector. So that would be my conclusion on VETP.
Okay. So, Paula?
Yes. So we are really here today, right? Because of the true testament, what type of success VETP has been, right? And we are, all three of us are proud to be sitting here today after 10 more years, and really going back and reflecting on all the good work that VETP has done. So just for the, as Pascal was saying, just for newcomers, or really to get a comprehensive idea what type of organization VETP is and why it has proven beneficial to donors and to government and to the sector, as it has been designed and established. Really taking us back 10 years or 15 years, the vocational training sector had many gaps, and really gaps such as national occupational standards, international accreditation, capacity training for VETP teachers and directors, and so on, really. And please not to misunderstand. Of course, there had been lots and lots of good projects and government interventions and policy planning and development and implementation. However, because the sector was growing very much rapidly, really largely to all of the mining sector boom, which really needs all of the vocationally workforce with vocational training. That's why there was a lot at stake and many things to be done at quicker pace. So when things evolve in parallel and many projects and many partners, when a lot is at stake, of course, coordination is needed, right? And effective coordination and efficient utilization of all of the funding that had been coming from all the kind donors. And as we can all see now, really, the sector itself had progressed tremendously, right? And this is evident just if you would go to any private sector, let's say, company that has workforce, with vocational training, it really is evident, right? How skilled. And this is also a testament because VETP had been also participating in World Skills, right? In supporting Mongolia's workforce to participate in World Skills. So imagine the level of progress that VETP as the organization has been part of. And on that, yes, so the benefits are evident. And really it is a one-stop for the newcomers, or for really even for the partners that are an active player already, right? To, as Pascal was saying, to tap into the knowledge, to tap into the institutional history, memory, and not to duplicate, and to really utilize all of the experience and expertise that is housed at VETP as in terms of its many experts, for example. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. For today, we had Pascal and Bola, and thank you very much for being with us. And we want to use this time to congratulate VETP's 10th anniversary for all our stakeholders, professional associations, government of Mongolia, and organizations, development organizations, and many more we can name for it, right? So let's say happy 10th anniversary and conclude today's podcast.
Okay. Happy 10th anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary. Thank you, everyone.